Hi guys, this is Abdurrahman Gilal, and in this video I'll tell you that how to deal with date and time functions in PHP. There are a lot of occasions when you have to deal the time and dates in dynamic websites. For instance, that you have a form that you wanted to ask users to fill the form, like a registration of a course or anything. So you always give a deadline. So how you give a deadline, that you have to use some time methods or time functions. If you don't know the time or functions, then you won't be able to ever employ the restriction of time. And sometimes you wanted to just display a date on your website, that this is the date that you're working with. So there are a lot of things that you usually do with the time. You are also given an exam where you have to make sure that you have 30 minutes to submit the exam. How are you going to make sure that 30 minutes means 30 minutes? So these all things basically happens with the help of certain functions. So in this video I'll tell you that how to use those functions. So first of all, I must tell you that I have set up some sorry, some directories called date, where I'll be trying to tell you about date and time. So first of all, let me quickly open up this. Okay, so if I wanted to see the time, so I have a method called time method. So, sorry, function. So you see it returns you something in seconds. So it's not really readable for human. How you gonna read that? What is that? So if I keep refreshing it, you see it tells me seconds that are being updated. So that's not easy for me to read, right? Or users cannot read that. So how you gonna basically set up? So you need another function that is called date functions, which will basically help you to format the output of this time, which is in seconds. So a basic understanding that usually these seconds start, if I'm not mistaken, from 1st January 1970. Yes. So these seconds are started from 1st January, January 1st, 1970. So as per the UTC time, right? So now let's start and make a something useful out of it. Let's say I say echo and I use a method or function called date, and here I have to set up some formats. So what are the setups you are basically going to impose here? So if I write y, which means I wanted to see what is my year. So you see, let me just stop this because that's not useful for me to show you right now. So it tells you 225, which means that this y initial is trying to tell me that's a year. Definitely it's 2025. If you say you're not sure about that, so what you're going to do is that you write a capital Y, which means the complete year, right? So if I wanted to see what is the month, so if I write M small and then I put this and I put D, so which means I'm saying that M for month and D for date and Y for year, right? Let me save that and then run that. So you see, it's called 01, which is January, and 227, and then 2025. That means it's the current time. So it's by default embedding this time. So if you have a method, for example, if you wanted to keep a variable that is called time, and then based on that time you pass the dollar time to it, so it's going to be exactly the same. It's not going to really change anything because the time method, I'm sorry, I have to remove this echo. So let's see now. So you see its time method is by default embedded in a date class, oh sorry, date function. So usually it's better if you are not using a human defined or user defined time, which I'll explain you shortly. So you better use a method called, sorry, function called date. So this tells you that, okay, this is anything that is like comma or minus or something that you give is gonna be your format, and then you're gonna basically return exactly in a shape that you wanted to say. But this is like, you may ask me that how would I know that when this will be printed 27, or so you don't know the meaning of D, you don't know the meaning of M, or you wanted to print the hour, and then you wanted to print the minutes, and then you wanted to print second, and then AM or PM, let's say. So let's say you run that and you see this is time right now, 05:39 minutes and 51 seconds. If you keep updating that, you see it's keep updating here. So, and this time zone is not the time zone that I am basically, let's say, making video. For example, I'm making this video from America. So how is basically this time zone is presenting? So it's what we have to learn. So first of all, from where you get these initials. So these methods are basically given, or functions are given to us by the PHP programming language. So this, remember this manual that I am using. This is called date_in_time.format method .php. In here, you have all these format characters that you use in order to display the date. For example, if you are working with the day, so you write D for D, like if you have D, so it tells you like the day, like Monday until Sunday. If you wanted to write J, which will tell you from 1 to 31, instead of writing D small, because D small gives you 0 to 31. For instance, 0, 1, 0, 2, and this just gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So if you wanted to see the week, for instance, which week is that? So you write W. If you wanted to see months, so you have these characters that you use in the format, and this will really help you a lot to make things, look, how to say, professional on the date formats. So now, question is, mm, which time zone? Because right now, if I am seeing my screen, I am not making this video at this time, which is 5. So it is basically from where the GMT starts, so which is the European Standard Time. So how would I know that which standard of time I'm using right now? So let me remove this or just keep it, you know, sorry about that. Yeah. So now I'm gonna make, I wanted to see like from where to see the date and time. So first of all, write echo. And in order to get the default time zone, usually we have a method or function called default time zone get. So this will, help you to see where exactly you're basically picking the 6 seconds or time. So it's taking from Europe or Berlin. So it's the European Standard Time, which is what we understood. And I was thinking because GMT starts from, European Standard Time, like from England. So now you see Europe or Berlin. So makes sense. How about I don't want to see this time because I'm living in United States. I wanted to see the time that is here, right? So how to do that? So first of all, just keep it for time being right here. I ask you to just keep exactly the same thing and you paste it here. Instead of writing this, now you go here and you set up your own time zone. So how you set up your own time zone? So you have a method or function called date underscore default time zone set. So when I say get, which means I wanted to see what is the time zone. When I say get, which means I'm now setting up my own time zone. So where am I exactly? I am in America. So I'm gonna say America / and here I put the year, sorry, the my city, right? So I am living in New York, let's say. And so now say New York. So right, so when I say New York, if you do not write this spell correctly, which may encounter you to bring you exactly the same location, I'll explain you right shortly. Right now you see that. So you refresh it and you see, my bad. So I have to bring this one here also so that we see where exactly are we right now. So now you see here, first one, time was from Europe and Berlin, and this was the time. So now I set up to United States, New York, and then you see that I have time exactly whatever it's like 11 or 43 and 34 p.m. So that makes you sense. I hope it makes some clear sense to you now. So also I can do like this here so that I have underline. Let's see if I can make a difference. Yes. So let's say, so forget about that. So now the question is that if you wanted to do more, like you wanted to create your own time so that you wanted to, let's say, set up things that you have a form that you are posting today and you wanted to stop it after 7 days. So for that, you should have so many ways. For example, you take a time which is now, and then you add the seconds of those weeks because when you see the time, that's this how to say this function, which is basically giving you time from how to say it's giving you time from in seconds in from now, which is right now. So how you gonna add up few seconds you add more and that will be perfectly fine. For example, every time I click, so that will be okay, then you can do that way also. But there are those ways where you can also implement some dynamic ways. So let me quickly come up here and then let me just bring it out. Yes. So here we right now. we are trying to make our own time. So let's make it. First of all, I'm gonna make my time is my variable, which is basically gonna help me to make my time. So I have a method called str to time. You see, str to time tells that anything that you say in a string, like a human readable form, it's gonna basically make the time based on that. For example, you say now. So when you say now, I believe it should basically return me. Let me just make this all commented so that we see the time difference. So this time is from time and this time is from str to time, which means I made my own time right now. So let's run it and see. So you see both of them are giving me the same exact same, you know, seconds return. So it means that if I'm using now, which is right now, how about +1 or +1 day, let's say. So you run that and you see the difference is clearly here you 7, here you have 8. So you have a different time after 1 day, right? So this is really interesting that you wanted to add, let's say, +7 1 week, let's say. So you refresh it and you're gonna see it's really interesting, isn't it? So it's basically changing the seconds based on, anything that you write. For example, now I'm gonna make my own time. What is right now and what is, I can take now from here. Now I wanted to say +1 week, which means seconds, which are gonna be next week. So let's say how we gonna, display like right now time and then 7 days after. So I must tell you in let me just remove this time first and also this time so that we are not confused in output. So let's say here I am not directly putting the time that is right now. I'm just gonna put time that is gonna come after a week because I am making my own time, right? So what will be the date after 7 days, right? What will be the date? Let's say refresh it. Let me bring this echo here again. Okay, this is better. I put like that. So let's see now. So you see, today is 27, which is okay, and then the February 3 will be the day after 7 days. That's perfectly fine. And then the month is January, and then the month will be February. That's perfectly fine, which makes a clear sense that I'm not worried about the time that is in like hours or minutes, but I'm worrying about the week that I'm adding here. So you see, if you add 1 day, only 1 day, so what's going to happen here? You're going to have just from 27 to 28. That makes sense, right? Right, perfectly fine. How about 1 month? So what will be the date after 1 month? So it's February 27, 2025. If you wanted to know, I wanted to add a year for my application. So you see, so you get the dates in seconds. You don't get the dates in like this format. So but you can set up to display with the date method. So here you get the seconds. That's what I want to try to explain to you. So this method, so this function, which is time, is by default embedded into date function. So you don't have to put time here like this. You don't have to put it's by default set up there. But if you wanted to bring out your own time like this, so you have to give a time zone, sorry, time specific, like where exactly, which specific time you're getting. And then if you think that the time zone that you're right now working does not suit to you, let's say it's automatically taking this time. So what you do is that you copy that and then you paste it here, and then you just remove this. So now it's going to set up your time as per United States. So anything that you do now is set up based on United States. And there is another last function that I'll tell you that you can also explore that is called mktime, which is also similar to what you're working with. That is called strtime, which strtime can be written like that way, or you can also add like this, for example, 12th February 2025 or 24, which is basically going to be going backward. So let's see, does it really make, yes, it makes perfectly fine. So if you say, let's say 30, or let's say 30th of February, which does not exist. So what happens that it brings it 2 days ahead because it says the 28 is the day, 29 and 20, 29 and 30. So it basically added up. So it's a literally a real like advanced kind of function that you can use to make your own time. So about there is another function that I was trying to talk to you about that was called the mktime. So in mktime, you can basically make the time exactly like you make with str to time, but str to time is flexible where you can use like human stuff, like you use a natural language. But if you're working with mktime, unfortunately, you do not have to work like that way. So what you have to do is to use the mktime, and you have to bring it like this. So you have to call, you know, echo, and this is where you have to bring like the date, so sorry, hours, minutes, seconds, and the date, month, and the date, and then the year. So this is really like you have to follow the format. If you don't follow the format, it's basically not gonna work for you. So now here you say like maybe you say like MK time, and then this one will make the date like that way. So now if this is done, so what you're gonna do is that you come back here, and then you paste it here exactly the same thing that we did, but I'm using MK time. Instead of my time, I'm using MK time. Let me bring this BR here so that we can see the difference of output. So let me refresh the page. So give me a second. You see 26, 26, and then that's a bit advanced, like because I set up 26 here. I set up 26 here. How about if I set up 28 here? So let's say, let's run that, and then you see 28 here. So MK time makes, but you have to follow the structure of the function. So that's really a little bit that you have to remember, that what are those parameters that you have to pass. So you have an hour, you have, let's say minutes, you have seconds, you have a day of the month, and the month, sorry, month and the day of the month, and then you got this year. I hope it's useful. You can now implement in any way that suits your, project. And please do let me know if you have any confusion or anything that you wanted to discuss with me. Thank you so much, guys.